Hello everyone, and welcome to my first video on the Binding of Isaac Racing Plus mod. So, I know that my channel is a Pokemon channel. Most people watching this don't know much about Isaac, and definitely don't know much about the racing, speedrunning sort of side of Isaac. So, I'm going to use this first video as a kind of explanation, and not really try to like go as fast as possible, because then it'll be tough to explain everything that's happening. Honestly, this whole series is going to be tough on a commentator standpoint. I feel like there's not going to be a lot to talk about, but I want to do this, basically. I don't need to do this, but I want to record this stuff. I need to practice, basically, because I've joined another Isaac tournament. This will be my third one, and you know, I need to practice so I can try to be good for that tournament. Funny thing is, it's actually a draft tournament. It's the first time Isaac has done anything like this. Unlike Pokemon, we're not drafting things. We are the ones being drafted. So it's like a team-based sort of thing, and you draft people that you want on your team. It seems really cool. I'm excited for it to happen. I forget what days it happens, so I can look this up now. Where is it? There it is. Go to rules. Come on. It's not loading. There we go. Sign-ups close June 22nd. Draft June 23rd, 24th. League starts July 1st. Okay. And if you want to watch that, that will be on Twitch. Probably. I don't see anything here that says it will exactly, but it should. It should be. But yeah, I need to practice. So basically, here's an explanation. There are 3 different types of Isaac racing. There's seeded, there's unseeded, and there's diversity. The one we'll be doing today is diversity. But this tournament has all 3 types, so I need to practice for all 3 types. Diversity is the one that I know the best, so that's why I'm doing it for this first episode. But I will need to learn seeded and unseeded as well. So let's go through each of them and what they mean. So, seeded just means that you have the same seed as your opponent. Meaning, if I go into a game here, hold on, it's frozen. Come on. There we go. If I go into a game here and I start up a run, it's going to have a seed. Where do I find that? I don't look at seeds very often. I don't know how to find them. Oh, there it is. It's right there on the left. 6R CQ XB DK. So that means that what I see, my opponent will also see. If he goes into this room, he will get these same enemies in the same layout. If he goes into this item room, he'll get the same item. I'm not sure if rerolls work seeded. That's something I need to figure out. I think they do. So I think if I reroll this item, it would be the same reroll that my opponent would get. But I'm not 100% on that. So unseeded basically means you can get any of these infinite possibilities here. You just hit the reset button. And diversity, well, let's go into Racing Plus and start a diversity race so I can kind of show you. So there's a separate program here called Racing Plus where I have to start a race. And so if I click ready in this program, it'll start.
3, 2, 1, go!
And so I now start with all these items. I have the spider butt as an active. I have this contact thing, death list, and spider babies and stuff as 3 passive items, and I have the curved horn as a trinket, which is a very nice trinket, one of the best. The rest of the stuff is not that useful. Contact can actually be very annoying if you don't get good tier rate. And the spider stuff is pretty decent. Spiders are nice, but it does affect Little Brim. So Little Brim is a good item, but it's...
Are you downloading anything?
I'm recording. Little Brim is a good item, but the way familiars work is if it's in second slot, it'll be a little more difficult to use because basically the spider sack is taking up the first slot. So yeah, in Isaac races, you reset until you find a good item from the item room. So neither of these are good items, so I re-roll them. Neither are good items, so I reset. And diversity really changes that sometimes. Not too often, but sometimes there are items where they would not be starts, but with the particular diversity things you started with, they could be starts. I accidentally hit reset there, didn't mean to, it's fine. Yeah, also a new booster pack came out that I still don't know a lot of stuff about, so I know that item's not a start though. So yeah, right now we're just looking for a start. We'll have curved horn to boost it up, which will be nice. Lung, I don't consider a start anymore. It used to be, but even when it was, I kind of hated it. So you re-roll that. So Isaac Racing is basically all about RNG manipulation and decision making. You have to decide what you think is a start, what you think is a take, what you think is a reroll, and try to manipulate the RNG to get the items that you want, or at least decent items. This is an all stats up, but it's not a damage multiplier, so it's not a start. Magic Mushroom is an all stats up that is a damage multiplier, so it is a start. And if you're looking to learn more about Isaac Racing, you'll see, they'll eventually go through like all the starts, and you'll get to see them all. Right now I'm not going as fast as I could, just because this is not a real run. This is just kind of to show you how things work. So here, this has to be a library, I believe, because I don't think shops can spawn in the opening room. So that's kind of cool, but you also don't get a key to start with. So if you find a key, you can basically most likely get a bookworm transformation, which gives you 2 tiers at certain points, or it's luck based, but yeah, you can't go in curse rooms with Judas because you don't have the health for it. And curse rooms, you really don't look for starts in there anymore. Long time ago you used to, but even then item room starts were vastly superior, and curse room starts just started being phased out. So finding a starting item usually doesn't take this long, but I'm going pretty slowly, so. Usually you can find a start within about a minute or so. Okay, Stack Dagger is a start. I hate it. though. It's a fantastic start. It's one of the best, but I'm not good with it. That's the problem. So this is for practice, so that's why I will be using it, but all I'll say is don't expect me to win this run. I tend to play a little over aggressive with Sack Dagger just because I feel like it's kind of necessary when you're doing a speedrunning sort of thing. Oh my gosh, an Emperor card. So Emperor cards are like the most overpowered things in all of speedrunning because they let you skip the entire chest. So yeah, just if you ever see a card, you're always looking for an Emperor basically. There are other things that are good to get, but you always want Emperor. And you see their contact being annoying. It blocked that tier, which means it did not kill that enemy, which means I lost like maybe half a second or so. Probably less than that, but still. Okay, experimental treatment is kind of garbage. So here is the first example of decision making being a huge factor in Isaac racing. So you could take the experimental treatment, risk the stat changes. They could be good, they could be bad. Most speedrunners don't take it because of the potential of them being bad. But then another thing is experimental treatment is 1/3 of the way to spun, which is a good transformation that gives you damage up. So you could get bad stats, but you could get the damage to mitigate that. With Sack Dagger, I don't think I want to lose speed, so I don't think I want to take it. But you have to make that decision on the fly. You see? Like, you can't just sit here and think about it like I am. And then you have to decide, do I want to re-roll this? Because what happens is the second floor can be very short. It requires 6 rooms to get a full charge for your dice. And you see here, if I had gone from the starting room straight here and not clear that up path, that would only be 4 rooms, because the start room does not give you a charge. And that would not give me a charge for my dice, or die, and I would not be able to roll the Devil Deal for B2, which is a guaranteed Devil Deal. So I do not want to use my die here, but I do not want to pick up the item either, so I leave it. There are many times where I will pick up experimental treatment. I think I picked it up more than most people, but with a Sack Dagger, I don't want to risk a speed down. So I don't like that item either, and I still want to save my reroll, so I do not take it. And see, I'm missing a heart, but it's not worth chasing after that to pick it up, like in an actual speedrunning scenario. See, I almost tried to do that even though my Sack Dagger was nowhere near close enough to. The good thing is I have the curved horn here, so that's really helping me out on these weaker enemies where I don't need my Sack Dagger. So yeah, now I can just go into the boss room. Bosses are the things you want to be able to Sack Dagger the most. So that was a risky Sack Dagger. I could have taken a hit there, but it's not a big deal if I had, because I still have health to take the Devil Deal. So I immediately want to take this. It's a damage up and it's hearts. There's no reason not to take that. And then I reroll the Brother Bobby because it's useless. And that's not a terrible item. It's not, but it's not worth the health. I'd rather have the health because Sack Dagger can very quickly drain health from my build. And that's not a damage up or anything like that. So it's not worth taking. And so now I have this health. The reason I left this is because if I used all my health in that Devil Deal, basically if there was a 2-heart Devil Deal, like a Brimstone, I would be able to take it with that single heart that I had, and I would be able to come back to this heart and get it for free and have red health for my next Devil Deal. So as long as you have 1 red heart, you don't want to be taking health ups in the Devil Deal or in the boss room. And then also, if both Devil Deal items were good, and I didn't need to reroll it, then I could have rerolled the boss room item and looked for tier rate or damage. And best case scenario, find magic mush. So there's a lot of luck involved in Isaac, but there's a lot of skill as well in terms of like RNG manipulation and finding the items you're looking for, especially in skill-based items like Sack Dagger, where you need to really know how to use them to get good damage. Dead Onion is great because that will block, my contact will still block tiers, but it will also go through them now. So I have like full piercing basically. So I could check the shop here, which is something I didn't even consider. So like when I walked out of that room, I would not be backtracking for this, but just as an explanation, I'm going back to show you, because there is a battery here, and you can farm for money and look for it in secret rooms and stuff. With only 2 keys and only 5 cents, I don't think it's worth it, but shops are very useful for looking for mapping, and having an extra battery for an extra reroll to look for that mapping is not bad, but I don't think it's worth it here. I basically only go into shops if I have close to 15 cents. If I don't, I typically just don't even bother. So here you can see an instance of not being very lucky. I've gone the complete wrong way, and that's a huge, not huge, but it's a time sink for sure. It's annoying, but something like an Emperor card, which I have, would be able to mitigate that a bit. So I'm doing not terribly with the Sack Dagger here. I think if it were an actual tournament scenario and I was actually trying to go really fast, then I would not be, but yeah, that's fine. You'll get to see that eventually, not an actual tournament scenario, but like, you know, me actually trying to go fast with Sack Dagger, and you'll probably see me doing worse. There was an instance where I miscalculated my damage because Dead Onion makes your tiers bigger, and I expected that thing to be dead, and it was not, and that cost me a bit of time. So that was a good use of Sack Dagger right there. And so here we don't have a Devil Deal. Also, I didn't explain, I got that Judgment card, and I blew up the Beggar immediately without even playing it. That was because it gives a Devil Deal chance. If you go back in the video, you can see on the left where all those stats are, you'll see the percentage on the Devil Deal go up a little bit. Even with that, I did not get it. So now I don't have a Devil Deal, and this is just a health up, and I already have red health for my next Devil Deal. I don't need this, so I can re-roll it, and I get an all stats up, which is a lot better. I get the health up anyways. So that's what I mean about RNG manipulation. That's a pretty obvious one. There are others that are less obvious, and you know, the decision making can be somewhat difficult in this game. So I typically try to go into big rooms. They don't necessarily get you anywhere faster. Basically, they count as a single room in terms of the boss room is always, or typically always, going to be the one that's furthest away in terms of single room count. But it gives you access to more rooms. You see, this big room has 5 rooms that's connected to it. So I feel like it's typically the correct way to go, but that's not necessarily the case. Also, I've not been using the spider butt when I should be. Just in little rooms like that, it's a useful thing to use. And then also with Sack Dagger, being able to slow things down. So you see, the big room was not the way there, and I could have cut through the big room to go back, but it would have been a long walk. And if this room was an easier clear than this, it would actually be quicker probably. you can see how powerful Sack Dagger is when you use it right. So now I have some speed. It's very nice. Speed is never bad. Well, that's not true. Speed can definitely be bad. Too much speed, it's really annoying to actually try to use a Sack Dagger properly. If you have a full 2.0 speed, like with a Roid Rage or something, is it the Roid Rage? Yeah. It doesn't give a full, but like Roid Rage plus one other speed up, I think would almost always give a full 2.0 speed. And you see, because of how quickly I'm clearing rooms, my spider sack is spawning spiders and not using them, which means they can be saved up for the boss or something like that, where I may actually need them. And so this is typically not a take. I'm trying to get into the habit of just not taking this altogether. I'm still in my casual, like I played a lot of casual Isaac before I started speedrunning, so I'm like, oh, there's no reason not to take this. But you've got to remember, you know, Little Brim is always useful in anywhere closer to slot 1. And coins are not that useful. Bomb Bag, I think, can be a take for sure, because bombs are very useful in things in like areas like the cathedral. Coins can be useful for mapping in the shop, but overall, finding mapping in the shop is actually very rare now compared to what it used to be. So I think I'm in the mindset of just not even bothering with the coin bag. Although I do have a battery, so I can reroll this, and that's not useful either, but it is worth time it takes to go over there and touch it, because that's not very much at all. See, I'm basically playing a casual game of Isaac with the mentality of a speedrun. That's what I'm trying to do here. And in the next episode, I will actually do a diversity speedrun. But I guarantee I will be talking a lot less when I actually speedrun. So just be prepared for that. Yeah, you'll see me start to leave a lot of pickups and things just when I don't feel like I need them anymore. This will be a cube of meat, which is very nice. Go in here. So we don't really need lump of coal. Krampus' head is good though, better than spider butt. And now I have 2 rerolls. So I touch this to get 1/3 of bookworm transformation, and then I re-roll it and get a damage up. So overall, that was a decent double deal considering it's Krampus. Krampus can just not give you anything good because it's only one item, basically. So when you already have an Emperor card, sometimes it's not really worth it to touch cards anymore. But I'm still kind of in the habit of always looking for an Emperor. So it's a habitual thing because, like, you just get in that mindset. Tough room here. I used to never be able to do that room without taking at least 1 hit. There was a tinted rock in there, but I already walked out of the room, so I'm not going to go back for it. I noticed it as I was walking out of the room, and typically I don't want to backtrack for something that's going to take, you know, 2 or 3 seconds to blow up anyways. I will backtrack for tinted rock sometimes though, for sure. So it's very unlikely I'll find something good enough in the boss rush for an Emperor card, but you know, as long as I have a teleport and there's no devil deal, there's no reason not to use my reroll, which there's nothing good, so we move on. even if there was something good, there's like a 90% chance that I'd take the Emperor card over it. And if I don't have a teleport card, I don't even check Boss Rush. Some people still do on the off chance of finding an undefined, but it's so low, I don't think the seconds it takes to check the Boss Rush is even worth it. Also, I forgot to use Krampus' head on that fight, but it's not a big deal. I should be bombing out of this room, honestly. That took too long to clear. So this is where things are going to start to get difficult, because I feel my damage is not that great, and it's finally catching up with me here. And Sack Dagger is going to just get tougher and tougher to use as the enemies get better and have more health. So I'll probably actually go back for that Soul Heart just because it's on the ground, and it's not like a time waste to blow up an actual tinted rock. So yeah, basically, not everyone does this, but what I sort of end up doing, I wouldn't necessarily say it's purposeful, but what I end up doing is kind of walking out of rooms no matter what, before the pickup even spawns, and then I kind of go back if I think the pickup's actually worth it. So I almost don't want to take that speed, because it does get tough to use Sack Dagger when you have too much speed. This will put me at a full 2 speed, I believe. Also, I'm still forgetting to use Krampus' head. I do that all the time. I just completely forget to use my other active item. Here, Little Brim is not that great, but I think I'd rather take it and reroll the speed than reroll a Devil Deal item and probably still not get anything better than a Little Brim. The second slot Little Brim is still not as terrible. Although, I will say there's tons of other speedrunners out there who would make a different decision than that. And that's why I say, decision making can be key in Isaac Racing. I say can be key. It's like the most crucial element, probably. So I'm down to 4 hits, actually. It's kind of scary. I do have an Emperor card, which means I won't be taking hits on the chest. So that was Death List. It actually gave me a damage up, which is very nice. So these things are new. I still don't know how to fully deal with them. Remember to use Krampus' head. I knew that was gonna happen. Recharge it. So I basically just have to get through this cathedral without dying, but also, like, it's hard to do when going really fast and not having the best amount of damage. So here I just want to bomb out. It's a dead end. Here you don't bomb out because it's an easy clear. Oh, it even hit me there. I didn't see it, but it's okay because I got another health. Half heart and full heart don't mean anything here. I should have taken a lot of hits there. I got lucky. I should have been firing because I have the contact. I'm not used to having the contact. It's not an item you take too much in speedrunning. It's actually helping me a lot here with this dead onion. So you could reroll that, but I'd rather save my reroll for the chest. I know there's another spider around here. I'm also saving my Krampus head for the Isaac fight. Isaac fight is the most annoying fight in the game. I'm saving it for phase 2. There we go. took a hit there, but I was able to skip phase 3 entirely, which was huge because he would have spawned all those light beams and that would have been a time waste. So here with an Emperor card and 3 hits and Polaroid, I don't need to check the chest items because that's just a time waste, because I can beat Blue Baby without the chest items at basically the same amount of time because of Stack Dagger. So we go here, we immediately enter. And yeah, that's that. So I hope this helped you gain a bit of an understanding for how Isaac speedrunning works. You know, there will be a lot less explanation in the upcoming videos where I will actually be trying to go fast. And I have no idea what I'm going to be doing for commentary. Because the moment I try to explain something, I'm going to come across to something else, and it's gonna be a mess. But you know, it's just for practice, so it's not really a huge deal if the commentary is lacking. And I actually got disconnected from Racing Plus, so that didn't count, but it's not a big deal as long as the recording got it, which hopefully it did. Hopefully everything's recording okay. I guess we'll see when I end the recording here. I'll see you in the next video.